Hello, my name is Anil Sikwa, and today I'll be talking about the relationship between emotion and racism in Claudia Rankine's book, Citizen. The relationship between the two, emotion and racism, is not a positive relationship. One could even say it is an estranged relationship. That is because throughout the book, in the poems, we see whenever a person of color sees a racist situation, either them being the witness or them being the victim, and having racism and injustice directed towards them, obviously that would create really strong emotions that would normally evoke a really strong reaction because it is a target against their person. But we see this suppression or bottling up these strong emotions and pushing them down in a sense to avoid further confrontation and not react with the same aggressive manner or negative manner that they are receiving. And we see this very clearly in one of the poems, and that would talk about the situation of a World Cup of soccer where a white player would say racist remarks against a person of color. And as James Baldwin says, quote, "No black man who has not had to make his own precarious adjustment, yet the adjustment must be made. Rather, it must be attempted." End quote. This adjustment mentioned, it refers to one's behavior and, as I mentioned, a reaction and the suppression of the strong emotions, or at least the attempt to suppress the strong reaction that's brewing up in order to avoid further confrontation. And one of the big reasons is because for a person of color to react in a negative manner, especially if it's a white context, they unfortunately see a strong backlash of their reaction to the situation. And we see this in the case of Serena Williams, that is also mentioned in part 2 of the book, where it talks about Serena Williams' career in tennis and some of kind of a brief description of major events of her life. Very brief, but it shows how many of these big events that kind of set the stones for the foundation of her worldly known career in tennis, there was instances of injustice and racism towards her. And we see this as the speaker in the book says, quote, "Serena's behavior on this particular Sunday afternoon suggests that all the injustice she has played through all the years of her illustrious career flashes before her, and she decides finally to respond to all of it with a string of invectives." End quote. For Serena Williams, when she reacts negatively because, as mentioned, there was a bottling up of emotions whenever she faced a racist bias against her during her games and her career. Eventually, it all came up when a similar situation happened to her during a game, and she reacted in an aggressive manner that perhaps could have been done in a different way, but because of that, because of her reaction that she had to the situation, she was unfortunately criticized by her actions, and she was even penalized, and she wasn't playing for like 2 years. So we see this terrible situation where people of color have to suppress and have this bad relationship of with their emotions that they cannot fully express in a way that they want, due to them having to kind of set the tone for these situations, that so that we don't see an eye for an eye, because an eye for an eye in these kind of situations, as we see with Serena Williams, created a negative outcome.